What is up, Internet land? Hey, listen, if you've ever wondered how to get started prepping, or you've been stressing out about whether or not what you've been doing prep-wise, preparedness-wise is getting it done, this is the video you want to hang out with. Please stay tuned. We're going to do the top 10 commandments of getting started prepping. You can also use this to evaluate your current preps and get going from there. Okay, so I'm just making myself a cup of coffee here. Maybe if I can keep my jet boil going, and we're going to chat a little bit about these awesome notes. Okay, so getting going. Number one, listen, I'm not going to waste your time on this. We're not going to go from 10 down to 1. We're going to start with the most important, and then all the others are important. I don't have any of the others in a particular order. Number one is number one, okay? Number one is going to be security. Listen, don't buy stockpile setback food if you can't keep it, okay? If you can't keep somebody from taking it, don't bother wasting your money on it. Go on a cruise. Take the family on a vacation. Go down to Florida and give the groomers a bunch of money to entertain your kids for a day. Listen, you don't even get started putting food away. Don't get started prepping if you can't keep the preps from evil men. Listen, a good person will do evil things to feed their children. How much more will an evil person do in the time of SHTF, which I think it's beyond the reality that it's coming, okay? And whatever version of it you want to prepare for, EMP, nuclear strike, financial collapse, whatever it is, something's coming, okay? And right now we're staring down the barrel of about 15 different SHTFs that we're teetering on the cliff of whether or not those are going to show up or not, okay? So very, very first thing, everybody in your family needs an AR-15. Everybody in your family needs a Glock 19 at least. You need at least one shotgun per family, and you need 1,000 rounds of ammo for every single one of those weapons. Now, I got it. I understand. You got to get started. I'd rather you have one of each of those things than none of those things. So don't get too in the weeds of where we start, okay? Just set yourself a goal. I want everybody in my family to have an AR-15. I want everybody in my family to have a Glock 19. And if you live in places like Oregon, Washington, California, you need to make that happen immediately before they completely strip you of your Second Amendment rights, or you need to apply one of the other 10 commandments that we'll get to shortly, okay? So, and listen, I got it. I understand. The conversation of guns is a big, big deal. Some of you are going, well, my wife hates guns. I would say lead, leader. Okay, my husband hates guns. I would say lead, leader. We are husbands and wives. We are called to lead our families. Lead them down the path of of wisdom. Lead them down the pathway of security in that regard. Okay, and then start putting away ammo. At least ammo is available right now, unlike it was 2 years ago. It's just going to be really expensive. And so what I want you to do is stop calling it expensive and just call it available and be really, really happy about that, okay? 2, and again, remember, number 1 is number 1. All of the others, you can kind of move them around in the order, but I did put a little bit of emphasis on a few of these. Number 2 is water, okay? If you're living by the rule of threes, right? 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and 3 seconds without hope, right? And I think that having a functional security plan and firearm lends toward that 3 seconds of hope. For looking at water, you got to have it. You got to have it to live. You got to have it to cook. You got to have it to clean. You got to have it to treat medical problems. All of that stuff. You got to have water. Okay. So everybody in your family should have at least 2 small water filtration devices, whether they're Life Straw. I personally like the Cadden Be Free, and or the Platypus. So I like to have everybody has a Life Straw and everybody has a Be Free. That's my thing. And then you also need a mass purification system, like a big Berkey, although Berkey's kind of slipped in the trustworthiness section in the last few months or weeks, I guess I should say. I think what I prefer right now, aside from the Katahdin, or aside from the Big Berkey, the Life Straw Community looks really, really nice, or the Life Straw Jerry Can. Life Straw Jerry Can's cool because you can pressurize it, and that is really, really, really nice. Okay, so water, gotta have it. It's a big deal. 3, bulk food, non-perishable food items. Okay, so you do not need to go to Mountain House or Peak Refuel and drop thousands of dollars on freeze-dried food, although they are a fantastic way to change things up, shift up the game. Okay, definitely have some of those on hand. But getting started, if you're just getting started, rice, beans and rice, as Dave Ramsey would say, right? I also like to put away powdered milk, freeze-dried eggs, and wheat berries for sure. All of that stuff is going to be packaged in Mylar bags. Just get them on Amazon while you still can, and get yourself a pulse sealer, or you can use your wife or your hair straightener to seal up the Mylar bags. Super, super nice, okay? And I've used my pulse sealer for lots of different things. Like you may have seen my video about turkey rub, and I use that to package up a lot of the things that I do. So the pulse sealer is very, very useful and not very expensive, okay? Listen, it's not complicated. Food grade buckets, Mylar bags. You know, you want the Mylar bags with the oxygen absorbers just to get as much length as you can out of your food life, all right? But you can also store it in food grade buckets. Right now, if I were going to tell you to do anything, skip the Mylar bag, lock it down in food grade buckets. Just get it on hand. You can repackage it later, okay? Okay, so in the food items, do you have chickens? If you don't have chickens, you should have some chickens. They like to poop out little packages of protein for you every day, and that is really, really, really handy. And when they quit pooping out little packages of protein, at that point, you can put them in a stew pot, and it's really, really easy, okay? We got some videos on coming up on how to process your own chickens. Going to be very helpful, but there's tons of those videos out there. Justin Rhodes, Sow the Land. Go check out the homesteading channels. Going to be really helpful to you. If you live in a residential area that you are not allowed to have chickens, if you can't have chickens, get quail. Quail are not considered livestock, and they don't make any noise. If you can't, if you don't want to do quail because you don't like birds, get some rabbits. You can produce 600 pounds of usable protein with 3 rabbits, okay? Looks like I got me some water ready for coffee. Just in time to talk about fire and or heat coming into the winter months. Even if you're watching this video next summer, if the world hasn't collapsed and it's still available on the YouTubes and the Rumble, you're still going to need to think about fire as a cooking method, right? So like I've got 2 examples for you today. Got my little pit fire here at our rear observation station, one of our new observation stations on the property. This is a really great little spot to come out in the woods where I'm going to film quite a bit in the next few weeks. I got myself a nice little warming fire in the pit. I could absolutely cook over this, but I also have a nice jet boil that can boil water really, really quickly, and that's pretty great. We like that a lot. But you also need to think about how you're going to heat your home if the grid goes down, okay? Do you have a wood stove? If you don't have a wood stove, you should get a wood stove. If you, well, I got a pellet stove. Well, pellet stoves are great as long as you can get pellets and you have electricity. Do you really want to be burning gasoline to run a generator, to run a pellet stove while you run out of pellets, okay? That's going to be a really big piece of the conversation, okay? Pellet stoves are very convenient. Maybe you want one in your house. I would definitely consider having a wood stove on hand that you could switch out into that scenario if things went sideways. So heat's going to be a big piece of it. Okay, getting healthy. You might be seeing me for the very first time. You've never seen this video before, and you're thinking, what does this fat guy have to do telling me about getting healthy? Well, here's the story. This fat guy is 165, almost 170 pounds down from what I was 2 years ago. If you go back in the video logs, my most popular video is how Christians should carry. You go check out that fat dude, and yeah. So I'm not just talking out of my butt here. I'm practicing what I preach. All right. This is a big, big deal. You got to get healthy. It's time to get healthy. All right. You do not want to face the battle that is coming. You do not want to face the situation that is coming at 450 pounds like I was just a few years ago. Okay. It is time to get your poop in a group. It's time for Americans to stop being content, being fat and lazy. And I got it. Some of you are like, it's genetic. I bought all the lies. I bought all the lies. The doctors told me I couldn't lose weight without having surgery. I would never lose a significant amount of weight without having surgery. Well, I had bariatric surgery, but I lost 80 pounds by myself first. Well, not by myself. I had lots of help from some really dear friends. My friend Troy, my lovely wife, the pretty blonde lady. There was a lot of people that backed me up and helped me get healthier. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can do it. Now, but I'm not just talking about losing weight. Don't buy food, don't buy ammo, don't buy a new rifle if you're not willing to do a sit-up. If you're not willing to get on a bicycle and pedal, right? You got to go out there and do some physical exertion. Get ready for what is coming, okay? It's a big, big deal. But more than losing weight, more than just exercising, do you have dental work that you're putting off? Do you have a surgery that you've been putting off? Maybe you've been hem-hawing whether you're going to get it scheduled or not, but you need to get it done. It's time to get it done, okay? Let's try to stoke this fire a little bit here, maybe knock back some of this smoky smoke. There we go. There we go. Nice. I like a nice pit fire because it sort of self-feeds. I can stick my sticks in there. Anyway, so get healthy. Get free of some of your ailments. Some of you are like, but I'm elderly and I can't do that. Well, just do what you can do, okay? Some of you feel like you can't exercise. I guarantee you can sit in a chair and stand up 10 times. And then tomorrow, stand up 20 times. Then the day after that, stand up 10 times again, but a little faster than on day one. Move your body. It's time to get healthy, okay? Okay, so number 1, security, firearms. Number 2, water. Number 3, bulk food. Number 4 is fire and heat. Number 6, or number 5, I'm sorry. Number 5 is get healthy. Number 6 is comms, okay? GMRS radios, ham radios. Personally, I like the UV5R because it's really, really easy to hack and turn into both a GMRS and a ham radio. And I know some of you sad hams out there are going to cause all kinds of problems when I say that. I don't give 2 craps about your certifications because when SHTF comes, ain't nobody care about what your funny little numbers, letters, handle is. You're going to want to listen to the news and you're going to be able to communicate with your mag. I'll get to what a mag is in just a second. All right. Financial, number 7. Financial is a big one. Get free of your debt, okay? Dave Ramsey calls it gazelle intensity, okay? Jump into a financial peace university class. Do whatever you have to do. Sell stuff, downsize, move if you have to. Do what you have to do to get financially squared away. Everybody thinks, well, in a financial collapse, they're just going to, they'll forget what I owe them, blah, 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 blah. Did they forget during the Great Depression? Absolutely not. They did not. They came and they took the farm, they took the house, they took the car, they took the land, and they're going to do that again because they want to reset this country back to oblivion, and they want us completely dependent on them, okay? That's how this is going to go down. And that leads me right into number 8. Number 8 is move. Okay? Some of you have been waiting. You've been waiting for someone to look you in the eye and say this to you. Move. You got to get out of there. Again, I'm practicing what I preach. I just moved my family 2,000 miles from Oregon to Missouri because we could no longer deal with the tyrannical government of the tyrannical government of Oregon. Absolute clowns running that government. In fact, if you're still in Oregon, my prayers go with you. You have been stripped of your Second Amendment rights. You have been stripped of your ability to provide for yourselves for too long. Get out. You got to stop this. You need to move to a free state. That's why I named my YouTube channel Free State Homestead. Okay, move. Get away from high value targets. Get away from high traffic areas. You got to move. Okay. The golden horde is what it is called when the cities devolve and they begin to spread out into the countryside. You want to be at least 20 to 30 miles away. So that horde gets thinned out at least a little bit before they get to your property. And then you're going to want to have rear observation stations at the back sides of your property so that you can watch and you can have your people be paying attention to the folks that are trying to sneak on and do nefarious things. That goes for not just the golden horde, that also goes for the government as well, okay? All right. Number 9, transportation. How are you going to transport yourself, your goods, your family, the things that you need? Do commerce in your neighborhood or your community. I highly recommend an old diesel vehicle that's easy to service because diesel stores longer than gasoline, but at least an old vehicle pre-1980, and you know, get yourself a nice, you know, classic something or other that you can be tinkering on, learn how to fix it, do those things. Or if you're not mechanically inclined, you're like, I don't want an old clunker sitting in my driveway, then buy a bicycle and be able to ride it. And I don't mean be able to ride it in a way that like you can functionally pedal. I mean, can you get on it and sustain riding? Last weekend, part of my fitness celebration, part of my 2 years weight loss journey, my buddy Mike and I, we rode 45 miles. And 25 of that was up. We did 25 miles of ascending. And I will tell you right now, I did not think that I was going to be able to handle it. But we did it. We completed that test, 45 miles. It was sub 30 degrees for about half of that ride. And it was very, very tough. I was soaking wet and freezing by the time we were done, but we did it, and it was awesome. So get on a bicycle. Maybe you got some land, you don't want to do an old vehicle. Get a couple horses, start feeding them. Get a donkey, whatever it takes. Listen, if you're serious about getting a bicycle, please understand that 90% of all bike-related stuff is made in Taiwan. Parts, components, shifters, derailleurs, cassettes, brakes, brake pads. There's things, most bike frames are going to be made in Taiwan, at least quality ones. You're going to want to make sure that you get that sooner rather than later, because we are very, very quickly about to not have access to things that are made in Taiwan, okay? All right. And that brings me to number 10. Number 10 is your MAG, your mutual assistance group, all right? You want to make sure that you have what you need. You want to make sure that you have what you need. The best way to do it is have people that you believe and trust. You have like-minded goals and you've gone through scenarios with them. You trust them. You know that you can believe in and they will stand by you. I'm not talking about a mega church full of people. You don't know a tenth of those people, okay? I'm talking about 5 to 10 families max, and 10 is pushing it way, 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 way hard. I think at this point, I don't know that you can vet 10 families. 3 to 5 really, really solid families. Make a friend with a doctor. Make a friend with an eye doctor. Make a friend with a military guy. Make a friend with a gunsmith. You know, if you don't have skills like those things, then you need to be out there making, friendships, building a mutual assistance group with people that you can trust and you can believe in. I'm telling you the truth. At this point, the skills to know how to run your rifle, if there's enough time, get out to Thunder Ranch and take a class. If there's enough time, you need to go out there. You need to let Clint Smith yell at you for being a jackwagon and not knowing how to run your rifle. Spend the money on the class, spend the money on the rifle, spend the money on the ammo, and get out there and get some training and learn how to do it. I personally, my favorite Thunder Ranch class that I've ever taken in my entire life is, I don't think they call it a TCCC class, but I think it's a combat medical class. Absolutely spectacular. Learn how to defend yourself, defend your partner while putting a tourniquet on them, while putting a tourniquet on yourself. Learning how to apply a chest seal. Learning how to do blood sweeps. Learning how to do the things that you need to do. They will push you to your limit. I'd love to go back and take that class again, 165 pounds down. I feel like I'd actually be able to perform a little bit better. Get the training that you need, and your training's going to come through your mag, okay? Get some medical training. Get the books that you need. In the health section that I mentioned earlier, do you have a survival first aid manual? Have you picked up a copy of Where There Are No Doctors, right? Please, 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 now is the time. You need to step up. Scripture says that he who doesn't provide for his family is worse than a pagan or a non-believer. At this point, if you are not paying attention to what's going on around you, and you are not stocking up what you need to be an asset to your community, to be an asset to your church, to be an asset to your mutual assistance group, at this point, you are a pagan or a non-believer. You've had enough warning, okay? You've had enough warning. You can turn on the news and you can see that the world is going to shit. That's my pastoral term, right? That's my pastoral term. The world's going to shit. Get your poop in a group. Get your stuff together. It's time. It's time. Okay, you can't afford a chunk of land. Neither could I. I'm back on family land. I'm back on family land. I had to humble myself and be like, you know what? It's time to come home. So here we are. We're trying to build a house just that away a little ways. It's time to get ready. And if you're not ready, well, I love you. Things are about to get real hard. Okay? You're going to watch some severely disgusting, evil things take place in the months and years to come. And when things go sideways, you're going to hearken back to this video and you're going to be like, this fat preacher told me to buy a gun. This fat preacher told me to get a really good pack. This fat preacher told me to have what I needed to get ready. And I chose to ignore him. Listen, my prayer is for you to hear my voice and go and do what I'm talking about. I love you, but that love pales in comparison to how much God loves you. It's time to make some changes. All right. Listen, this is going to become a series. I'm going to take this top 10. I'm going to break it into probably either two of five, and I'm going to do some real in-depth training. So watch for more videos to come. This is going to be my new YouTube studio for a little while. And on nice cold, brisk mornings, I'm going to come out here. This is an afternoon, but it's still pretty brisk. Just light myself a fire. We're going to make a cup of coffee, and we're going to talk about some things on how to get ready. Do me a favor, hit subscribe. If you made it this far through the video, you might as well hit subscribe. Like this button. Hit the like button, share this with people that maybe you've been prepping for a while, but you need a preacher to yell at your friend and be like, hey, it's time to get your stuff together, okay? I got it. I understand. There's a lot of people distracted. I got friends that are building houses. They aren't thinking about prepping. I got family members that are just like, it'll get better one day. It ain't getting any better. This is as good as it's going to get on this planet until Jesus comes back, and he is coming back. We can't get ready for that. There's not enough bullets, banes, and bandages to prepare for when Jesus comes back. I'm preparing for the time it takes between now and Jesus' return. Okay, now I don't get sucked down into the pre-trib, post-trib, blah, 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 blah. I'm on the welcoming committee, not the planning committee. I don't know whether it's pre-trib, mid-trib, or post-trib. None of that matters to me. The only thing that matters right now is that if the pre-tribbers are wrong, I got enough groceries to at least make a stand. If we got to wait and we got to face a bunch of tribulation before the great tribulation, I got enough supplies. I got enough security devices. I got enough things to at least make a real good go of it for my family. Listen, I love you, but that love pales in comparison to how much Jesus loves you. Get prepped.